Laptop entrepreneurs, Collin here. What's up, guys? Great to be here. We're doing a little bit, something a little bit different, actually. I am here on a Thursday instead of a Saturday or Sunday, where I typically record my episodes because I had some inspo today as I was going on my walk, and I just felt like, you know what? I really think that the audience can kind of gauge something from this. So we're going to be talking about some things here. Before I get into the topic, if you don't know me, my name's Collin Hernandez. I'm the podcast host for Laptop Entrepreneurs, and I just talk about what I care about, how I hope to make an impact, and how hopefully you can use these same principles into your own life. And the big thing for me is I'm all about consistency. Like, even if I don't, receive the kind of results that other people are receiving, and even though people are going quicker than me as far as getting back that feedback, I'm all about just like continuously executing and having that consistency. I think that's where we really create value. And here's the thing that before we get into the topic that I like to know is that everybody has access to social media. Anybody could start a company right now around a product, a service, whatever that may be. But the difference between how everybody can do that as long as they have internet is that some people have that opportunity, but they're too scared to reach for it, right? Or they start the opportunity, but they don't continuously keep doing it, right? And so that's been my biggest thing for me is that's why I'm doing the podcast, the writing the articles, doing the Instagram posts. It's more to not only help like a group of people, but it's also testing my own self, my own boundaries, and getting out of my comfort zone, which is a big thing we'll be talking about today, because it's been tough, like staying consistent with producing the content. It's a lot of trial and error and trying different things and like making sure that I'm posting on a regular basis. And so that's been a big difference too, is just making sure that I'm staying consistent with the way I'm thinking and the way I'm acting and the way I'm executing. And so I always just keep telling myself that. But without further ado, let's get into this. And let me start off by telling you a little story. So from a really young age, I knew that I was not going to be a baseball player. I tried baseball in seventh grade, and I thought, you know what? Let's give this a shot. Let's see if I enjoy this, if I'm any good at it. And my first pitch, I went up to at bat. I was like, let's go. We're going to hit a homer. I got hit by a pitch straight to the head. So after that, I knew that this was not going to be my career path. I was still aiming to be a basketball star, but baseball was definitely out of the cards after doing that, and I realized that was not really my true passion. So the reason I tell that story though is, you're creating your self-worth is an ongoing, situation. It's an ongoing, but it's exciting. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about how what you need to do is you need to be able to take yourself to the next level physically, mentally, spiritually, like taking yourself out of your comfort zone and purposefully doing hard things, doing things that are difficult, doing things that are way past your comfort zone and way past your boundaries, because it begins to make it's by doing complicated things and makes natural, simple life look a little bit easier because you're used to doing these hard, difficult situations. And like, for example, for me, that I'm not into like I do Facebook ads and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say I necessarily enjoy it as much as I enjoy going in and talking to my clients or going in and engaging with customers. Like, I like more of the face-to-face interaction, and I like creating the content, seeing what I can do with it graphically. But I knew that I needed to learn Facebook ads as a digital marketer. And so I put myself in this situation. And the amount of times that I said fuck or shit or this is horse shit, it's like, sorry for cussing, but like that's literally what was happening. I was in a position where I literally was so frustrated with doing this thing because I couldn't figure it out. And I put myself in that hard situation, and looking back on it now, like I'm thankful for that. It makes things a little bit easier. Like when I first started, creating content was hard. It was hard. Like it wasn't just for me taking a picture because I like things to look nice. Like a lot of people. And I think and my clients, of course, want things to look nice. And so there's a lot of pressure to be able to go and execute on my first few clients because I had no idea what I was doing, right? And so that's what the topic for today, after that extremely long intro, is that we're going to be talking about your self-worth and how that's so important. The biggest thing here is, all right, if you're serious about wanting to accomplish big things, and maybe if you're around my age, 20, I'm 22, if you're really, really serious about accomplishing big things, you need to start thinking about, how do I improve my individual self? How can I be a better salesperson? How can I be better at my job? How can I do this, and that? Because if you're not looking at ways to improve, how are you going to get out of your comfort zone? How are you going to accomplish big things? How are you going to be successful? How are you going to stand out from the other people around you? And the thing that you need to realize is that your 20s, like, I've had so many people tell me this, and it's honestly, it feels that way in this current moment, is that your 20s is a time to make your money, to save up, to work on yourself, focus on yourself, make yourself stronger physically, mentally, challenge yourself, think of ways that you can just expand out of your comfort zone. And so I've been doing this weird thing, okay? And like, you're first gonna hear this, be like, Con, you're such a creep, but like, listen to me, okay? Listen. So I've been doing this thing. It's a challenge. Look, I have no desire to have a girlfriend or to do anything that's going to be a distraction right now. I'm being straight up about that. Some people may, and I know we're going off topic here again, but that's what we do. But I have no desire for it, okay? Zero. Because I know that I need to focus on my business. I need to focus on improving myself. I'm not in a good position to do that, right? But I do enjoy, like getting out of my comfort zone. And so what I've been doing is I've been doing this thing where I will go and when I go to a restaurant and I think like a waitress is cute, I'll ask for her phone number straight up. And I'll do it in front of my mom. That's even the best part about it, is I am so focused on doing things that are difficult or out of my comfort zone. Like that's not necessarily the most easy thing. For some people it is, but for a lot of people, asking a random girl you don't know for their number is not easy. Now, granted, I am 0 for 2 so far. But like, shoot or shoot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's like a really silly, like, funny example. And they supposedly both have boyfriends. So, I don't believe in the whole analogy of like, just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score. Don't believe in that. That's wrong. And so I respect that, and it is what it is. But the whole point of that story is that I am constantly putting myself in situations that get me out of my comfort zone. Okay, I'm like getting rid of people that I don't feel like can make me a better individual. Like, a lot of the time I spend by myself. I spend so much time by myself. It's good for me. Like, whether I read or I meditate or I think or I write on my whiteboard or I write an article, I do a podcast, I do content for clients. Like, I'm constantly doing things to better myself. And that's what I think is so important with your self-worth, is that if you may be in a situation where you feel like you can't do it, it's too hard, or I don't have the money to do it, or I don't know how to do this. Like, that is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, how the hell do you think, Bill Gates came up with Microsoft? Like, he maybe knew the basics, but did he know exactly how he was going to run that company? Did he know all the framework of how they were going to do Excel, or how they were going to do PowerPoint, or whatever? Like, Apple. Did Apple know how to create an iPhone? Fuck no, they didn't. And you may be saying like, oh, but that's Steve Jobs. He's like, I forgot. It's so sad. I forgot the other co-founder. But you're saying like, oh, that's Steve Jobs. Like, he has it all figured out. Like, he's just genetically blessed. Like, no, that's so stupid. Like, we as human beings, we are designed to be able to overcome obstacles. We are designed to be able to go out and accomplish things. And for you to make that excuse straight up, like, I'm being honest, you need a reality check. You need a reality check. You need to be able to check yourself, because look, and that's coming from a place of love. Like, I have been in this situation numerous times where I felt like I can't do it, or I couldn't do it. And it's been, I've been like that, and it happens sometimes. But I rally back and I say, look, Collin, you're great at these things. How can you use these skills in order to accomplish this goal to get out of your comfort zone? And so I'm constantly self-evaluating who I am as an individual, and who do I want to surround myself with, and what do I hope to accomplish? How do I get there? Like the big thing about, creating your self-worth is asking those questions, asking yourself like, hey, Jimmy, what do you want out of life? I don't know. Like, that's not, that's okay. But the follow-up question there is like, okay, you don't know, but what do you think? Like, what are you thinking of trying? And instead of just thinking about it, and that's what separates the good from the great, is instead of thinking about what you want to do, it's actually about going out and accomplishing that one thing. That's where we really start to grow as individuals, and the big separation there is everybody has the ideas. Anybody can create an idea. We all create, tons of ideas within a day. But the difference is who is going to execute and who is going to act on those ideas. That's where the room for growth is. So now that we're I'm telling you guys like a little bit about how I look at my own self-worth. I also want to bring it up to you guys about how you can implement these same things as well, because that's the point of the podcast, is not only just sharing my own personal thoughts and opinions and how I live my life, but also how can you use this in your own life as well. And so that's what I want to talk about too. And I want you to do this, okay? And it's not a want. I mean, I do want, but it's also just like, I urge you to do this, is to take a deep breath. I hope this isn't stressing you out. Take a deep breath. Think about, okay, say your name in the third person, like, Collin, what are you good at? What do you know how to do? Okay? And then once you figure out, okay, I know how to do these things. I'm really skilled in these things. I'm not so good at these things. Focus on those things that you're good at, right? And the biggest thing, and the biggest word of advice I can give you is say yes. Say yes. Like when an opportunity arises and you don't know how to do it, you say yes. You say yes to doing things on your own terms. If you want to start a social media page about Georginian dip, Georginian dip, or whatever, or you want to start a page about cardboard boxes on social media, and you're evaluating how different cardboard boxes can fit certain packages inside them, whatever. Like, instead of thinking about doing something, you do it. Just do it. Execution over and over and again, and consistency. Like, that's what I've really realized in my own life, and how I'm striving to be a better individual and creating my own self-worth, is your ability to go out and do things that are harder for you and that aren't part of the normal things that you typically do. That's where you're going to start to grow. That's where you're going to start to prosper. And that's why I'm doing like these podcasts as well, is I want to step out. Like, I want to do something different. I don't want to follow the path that life tells me of, go to middle school, go to high school, go to college. I was so ecstatic to just be graduated from college and start doing my own thing. Like, I've known this from a really early age, because this is how I see things. I think that entrepreneurs have three things. They're communicative, they're self-starters, and they are so freaking optimistic, but real at the same time too. Like entrepreneurs don't have this idea of fear. Like, it's crazy. At least the really good ones, is that they're not afraid of shit. They're not afraid of shit. They just want to go out there and do big things and accomplish big goals to become a better individual. And that is special. That's a really, really special thing to be able to associate yourself with. And so that's kind of why I enjoy it so much. And it's a fun factor. So when you're thinking about your self-worth and you're thinking about, how can I make myself a better individual? Or, what are the things that I can do? I would urge you to first focus on the physical aspect. How can I physically be a healthier person? Does that mean drink less or smoke less, or I need to work out instead of one time a week. I need to work out 3 times a week. Instead of just doing the walking on the treadmill, can I box? Can I do something different that's going to test my physical limits? And then I'd focus on the mental aspect. The mental aspect being, I don't feel like I'm in the right place when I wake up. I don't feel like I'm motivated to do big things. I don't think I'm really there to, strive to be great and to have success. So it's thinking about, okay, what are some mental things that I can take care of? So maybe it's writing in a journal, listening to a podcast, meditating, doing like the dynamic meditation, which I've talked about on my Instagram page. These are the kinds of things that you're going to do that, really mentally put you in the right place. And then I think spiritually is an important part too, is what's your relationship with, the higher power? If you believe in the higher power, what kinds of things do you believe about the world? Like, this kind of goes into your mental aspect as well. But focusing on these 3 things can really, help improve the way that you look at yourself. Because if you can't look at yourself and be happy with what you see in the mirror, then how do you expect to share that love with somebody else? How do you expect to share, that idea of you giving your all when you can't even give your all to yourself? Like, you are the most important person to yourself. Like, nobody will ever love me as much as I love me, and that's a fact. Because I control everything that I do. You control everything that you do. We all, like, if you just look at it in that aspect of that, you are so valued and you had such a small chance of being born, and you're in a position where you can improve yourself and create a better self-worth and be a better individual. That is special. So I want you to, this is a deep podcast, but I really think that those 3 methods of improving your self-worth will pay dividends in the long run. Like, focus on that. Don't worry about getting the girlfriend or the boyfriend or the husband or wife, because a lot of my audience is, younger. Like get rid of that shit. Like, your most important thing right now is focusing on how are you going to make yourself a better individual? How are you going to have a stable income? How are you going to excel at your job? Like, I ask myself questions all the time. I talk to myself all the time because that's how I think I'm going to be able to grow. And so hopefully that was helpful for you. If you want to, you could go and check me out on Instagram. Let's chat a little bit more about this. I know this was a deep topic, but I think it's something that we all want to work towards, is creating self-worth and being happy with the person we see in the mirror. And so I wanted to bring that up. Hopefully this episode does air. I'll probably think about it a little bit. But if it does, you're lucky, because it's a good one. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to Laptop Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Collin Hernandez. We'll see you next week. Peace. Hey guys, Collin here. Thanks for checking out the podcast today. You can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at CollinHOfficial, or you can go on YouTube at Collin Hernandez. My company website is Klout-Marketing.com. You can also see all the episodes on there. Thanks again for giving me a listen, and I'd love to chat with you. So go ahead and DM me, message me, whatever that may be, and we'll see you for the next episode. Thanks. Have a good one.